it doesn't matter as long as you stay involved. You know, from 1983 to 1996, that is 13 years before I got to the business in East Africa, Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania. 13 years. Today, what is in East Africa is a very big part of my business. In that time, in fact, after less than a year or so, our uplines quit because there wasn't much happening. And they made a huge mistake because if they stayed involved and our business started growing under them, they could have made a lot of money over the last 36, 37, 38 years. I don't know. So I want to start off by saying that we all start right at the bottom. Some move up quicker than others. It's not a race. We're not in competition with each other. We each have our own lives, our own set of circumstances, sometimes unique stumbling blocks, which make that we may not grow as fast as somebody else. That's unimportant. What is important is that we do grow. Because if we continue to grow, we don't know what could happen. You know, a week from now, a month from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, you meet people who are going to be big in your business. But you've got to be there to benefit from that moment. So, having said all of that, you know, I just want to say to you that I feel so blessed that I and you can be in New Life. In my 41 years, I've seen many other companies trying to do what we do. And most of them come and go. Some last a little bit longer, some don't even last very long. There are very few similar companies who actually are grounded and who stay. But of those, Neolife is by far the very, very best in all aspects. Our products, the support we have, the infrastructure. I don't want to go into that much, but you can feel very blessed that it is New Life that found you. So that gives us a huge advantage because a strong company that's well-grounded, that's well-established, that knows what they do, that does things right. So in other words, we'll never be on the wrong side of the law, at least not the company. We may be, but not the company. They do things right. Why? Because the driving motivation from Jerry Brasfield, the founder of the company, and now through Kendra, his daughter, and everybody who's involved in the leadership of Neolife. It is about empowering people like ourselves to have a better life. And in order to do that, their way of doing it is just the best. The products are just the best there is in the world. The marketing plan, everything. But you know, that of course doesn't guarantee success. Because there's us. We're on the other side of the picture, of the coin, should I say. There are so many people who come into Neolife and who fail. It's not Neolife that fails or failed them. Neolife has never failed anybody. But many people have failed Neolife or in Neolife. That's the bad news. The good news is if people come into Neolife with motivation, with dreams, willing to learn, willing to work, willing to stay in the race for as long as they have to, then the backing that we have from New Life guarantees our success. So it's up to us to use what we've got and build something with the ingredients, as it were, that we've got. Build something of value for ourselves, for our families, but also for the people that we'll touch as we go along. So tonight I'm talking about you, but always when I talk about you, I include myself in that, because I'm in the same position as you in terms of everything I'm going to say and share with you. None of us can be very successful all on our own. We can really have some success. We can make quite good money on our own if you focus a lot on sales, for instance. But you can never be financially free if it's just you and your life. You all know by this time, and you understand that we build this business with people. In fact, I want to say it differently. I can't remember who said it when I heard it for the first time, but somebody said, don't think of building a business, think of building people. Don't build a business, build people. Because as we build people, our business will automatically grow and develop. So it's all about people. On the one hand, it's New Life. In between, it's us. And on the other hand, it's people. Now, I want to tell you something interesting. The people that you will gain your major success with in time might not be the people that you know now or that you have in your business now. It could be people, excuse me, it could be people that you haven't even met yet. But that's just by the way. The fact is that we build our business with people, and we build a business by building people. But we've got to accept responsibility for the people we bring into the business, to teach them, to show them, not just teach, not just tell, but to be with them, help them do the things they need to learn to do. We need to be there to encourage them. We need to be the example. And if that's your approach to people, what you can do for them, not so much what they can do for you. You see, you first got to sow before you can reap. We want people to do great things for us without sowing into their lives, with minimum effort or input into their lives. That's not how it works. You reap what you've sown. You've got to sow into people's lives. Have their interest at heart. Help them. Sometimes we've got to uplift them. Sometimes we've got to carry them for a bit. But when we do that, what we will reap is more and more and more people. You know, I'll never forget Hansie Cronje, that the leaders all know him. I never knew him. We were living in East London at that stage. We were in a meeting. I hadn't met him before, but he sat next to me in the meeting. I don't know what, I can't remember if it's the first time I saw him, but that's not important. And somewhere as the meeting grounded on, I pushed him in the ribs with my left elbow, and I said to him, Hansie, how would you like to make extra money? And he said, yes. Subsequently, I went to their home, showed them the business. And today, that is the biggest leg in my business. From somebody I never knew, somebody I could have missed if I hadn't reached out to him and asked the question. So what I'm saying to you is that you will still build your people with people you still don't know, have never met, or never even think you will meet. But now the important thing is when we reach out to find people for our business, I found that everybody you speak to, well, just about everybody, really wants to make extra money. But not they're willing to, they want to. But not everybody is able. So we need to look for people who are willing and able. Able could cover many things, but just a footnote to that is we should, on the other hand, not prejudge people, because sometimes we may come across somebody who doesn't seem able or who thinks they're not able. And if we coached and nursed them enough, they can become able. But a problem we sometimes create for ourselves is if we look at a level of people who may be very willing, but really are basically not able to even start the business, we are going to spend a lot of effort for very little return. Very hard work and little to show for it. So what is the key? We've got to look for people who are willing, they want to, but also able. We often say it's a question of looking for people on your level and higher. Sometimes, especially when one is new and you haven't made a lot of money out of the business and you talk to somebody who is far more advanced in life than you in a good position, they may even have a lot of money. You think, oh, well, those people won't be interested. That's a mistake. Because if you get somebody like that interested in the business, they're far more likely to make a success of it uh, if they're willing to, than somebody who comes in that, you pull out of a shack next to the road, they haven't worked for years, they haven't got money, they haven't got a mobile phone, nothing. You see the point I'm trying to make. The other, sorry, I'm just admitting some people. So the fact is we've got to look for good quality people. That's the bottom line. I'll never forget, many, many years ago, I was flying out of Lubumbashi in the DRC to come home. And I was sitting in the airport. Let me not comment on that airport. It's not a wonderful place to be, but anyway. And I was reading one of John Maxwell's books. And I came across this one thing he said. He said, if you just work with followers, you'll always have a tough road to travel. Because followers will bring in followers. But if you work with leaders, leaders can bring in other leaders and followers. You get the point that strong people who are leaders or with leadership potential, bring more potential to the business than somebody who is a follower. Now, I'm not saying never look at what I call now followers, but the point I'm trying to make is that when we start building our teams, what we must do is we must look out for the people who are most likely to succeed, who try the hardest, who most willing. They come to training. They're willing to learn. That shows a potential for leadership. And what we must do is 80% of our time must go into developing leaders. 20% of our time on the followers. Not that they're not important, but I've seen it, I've done it myself. I've seen it around me in the business where people bring in people that they work so hard with. They've got to do everything for them. Even if that person goes up to the level of director, they've still got to change their nappies when they're adults. And the moment you step back from somebody like that, they might just drop out. So the whole idea of when we build our business with people, and we're building people, we're building into people, focus more on people who are leaders, who show they want to be and can be leaders, because they are the people that will duplicate what you do. See, that's the key to what we need to achieve. We need to duplicate ourselves, excuse me, in other people. Now, when you've sponsored somebody, you haven't really duplicated yourself. You've only duplicated yourself when that person does what, or do it even better and more than you do. That's a very important distinction to make. So you could sponsor 10 people and think, well, I've duplicated myself 10 times. But if those 10 people do nothing, you haven't duplicated yourself. So we need people who will accept the leadership, and not everybody comes in as a full-blown leader. They can grow and develop into leadership. But the key is to try and identify such people and put more of our effort behind them, and in general with the rest. Because leaders can bring in followers, but they're more likely to also bring in leaders. You see, I mentioned Hansie Cronje or Dr. Cesar Nambasi, your other upline from South Africa, as an example. They are people who can do the job without me. Same as Justice and Dennis and Joseph and your other leaders, Susan. So you want to see people develop, and I was going to refer to Hansie, he developed so quickly. He actually became PT before me. But that's good. Other people take a time to develop. They've got to grow up. They've got to grow into the business. The key is, if as long as a person is moving up and growing, they deserve your input and your energy much more than people who are just playing around with the business. See, we want everybody to be successful, but that's never going to happen. We're never going to have 100% of the people become successful. And therefore, the key is to look for leaders or people with leadership potential and help them develop. And you are so fortunate that in the team Lion Kings, there is so much support, also from Neolife side. So for you, especially the newer ones on the call, who might say, well, I don't think I'm a leader. Or how do I become a leader? The good news is anybody can become a leader because it's something you can learn to do. You can grow into it. But then you've got to want to do it. You've got to want to sort of leave the masses behind and grow up and become a leader. So you've got to be intentional about it. It's not something that you wish would happen to you and you sit around and you wait for it to happen. You've got to be intentional. In other words, you've got to plan, what have I got to do to help me grow as a leader? Reading books, especially John Maxwell. And if I talk about reading books, just reading a book and putting it down is one thing. What we need to do is study a book. It's not reading through books, and by the end of the year you've gone through 30 or 40 books. That's probably going to be more or less useless. You want to take a book, and even a chapter or a portion of a book that deals with something, and you want to make sure you fully understand that. And then you need to start practicing that. It may be something that you've not been doing before, or that you're not really comfortable doing. But now, if you just read over that and skip on to the next thing, and you've never taken what you've read and started putting it into practice, and practice and practice and practice till you become good, then you're learning. Then you can move on to the next chapter or the next book. I've seen people who, there was a lady here in Cape Town. She probably had more books than most small libraries. She just bought books like they were going out of fashion. And many of them, I think, were never read. And that's in a sense a waste. So books, things on YouTube, trainings, whatever comes along, you've got to plan for that. Now, with the summit coming up, for instance, that is one of the most major investments you can make in yourself. I know it costs money to go down to Dar es Salaam, but that experience will do so much for you. It will grow you in ways that you can't even imagine could happen. You see, I always think and say, and I think I'm right in saying that, is that if I weren't talked into going to, those days we called it a convention, just after we joined, I don't know if we would be here this evening having this conversation. Because if I didn't get that exposure, that big picture exposure, and seen the heart of the company, I might have done what my two uplines did and quit, because we grew very slowly in the beginning because of my my professional setup and where we lived. But that experience woke something inside of me that made me realize this is not just something that you can pass up quickly. And I grew more and more because I kept going to conventions. And I didn't have money those days, but I went. You see, you could say, well, I can't afford to go. I want to tell you, you can't afford not to go. So know that you can, excuse me, know that you can develop into leadership. There's a couple, Louis and Laverne Smith, some of you may have come across them. They were farmers, and Laverne was so shy that when reps, people who bring agricultural products to the farm, when somebody like that would come to the farm, she would go and hide in the bedroom. In fact, not even just in the bedroom, in what the Americans call the closet, we call it the cupboard. I don't know what you call it, the wardrobe. she was that shy. She ran away from meeting strangers, even in her own home, on a one-on-one basis. And yet, the diamonds, she is a wonderful leader, a wonderful speaker. The same with my friend Jeff Riley. When they started in the business, he was a truck driver, and they had a couple of friends around to their house one evening, and Charlie Bolton came to do a presentation. And all Jeff had to do was stand up and welcome everybody and introduce Charlie, and he couldn't do that. Yet, and I remember this so clearly, years later on, we were at a function, and Jeff and his wife Rachel were speaking before me, and then I went up, and I thought, oh, do I now have to follow them? They were that good. From where in his own home with a few friends, he couldn't stand up and welcome Charlie and get the meeting going, to be one of the top leaders. As I said, he used to be a truck driver. At one stage, they bought a S-Class Mercedes. So from being a truck driver to having an S-Class Mercedes, that shows you what can happen. So in closing, let me just remind you that our side of the bargain, what we bring to New Life, is ourselves and then the people we bring with us. And the better we are in doing that, in bringing people, in building people, and duplicate ourselves, finding other people who will bring people and build people, the more we reward New Life, but the more we reward ourselves, and the bigger the difference we make in this world. Sometimes it's just through the products, very often. But in many cases, if we talk about business builders, it's through people changing their lives, because money is such an important, I would almost say foundational, I don't know if I can call it a tool, but without money, we've got no options. But when people start earning more money through building their New Life business, they can start traveling, they can start living in better homes and do things that they couldn't do before. And when you're where I am today and you look at people like you and the team Lion Kings, it is so satisfying to see what you are achieving. I must be very honest with you. I have no idea how much I earn from you. I have no idea. And I have no interest in trying to calculate that. I do earn, and I'm happy for that. But my greatest joy is in seeing you grow and develop, and in seeing you going out and doing good in other people's lives. Because believe me, our world needs people who do good, because there are too many who go out and do bad in life and to people. And through New Life, we can do leadership is leading oneself, especially for people who come from a work situation where they have a boss, where the boss leads, the boss tells them what to do it, when to do it, and how to do it, and how much to do, and when they can stop doing it. But when you come into New Life, you're in your own business, You're now the boss. You've got to lead yourself. And the better you lead yourself, the better you can lead others, who can develop into leaders who can lead others. To end off again with what John Maxwell often says, he says, when leaders get better, everything gets better. So on whatever whatever level you happen to be, as you get better, you're going to make it better for everybody else. And you can get better because God has made us not to be what we are, but He's put in us what we need to become what we could become. And through your involvement with New Life, and especially then also in the Team Lion Kings, you have such wonderful opportunity to grow as a person and then to grow other people who can grow other people, so that at the end of your life you can look back and be very happy about your life. And if you're a believer, you can end your life and hear God say, well done, my son, well done, my daughter. You did good. So I want to challenge you. And again, I talk to myself as well. Self-development. Focus on that. Focus on people, on developing people, and the harvest will be there. So thank you for this opportunity of just talking from my heart. I may have rambled a bit tonight, but that's what I felt I should be sharing with you. And Susan, Justice, the rest of you, thank you again for this opportunity, and stay well and God bless.
Thank you very much, Jaja Mike. The pleasure is always ours. And I believe the people who are on the call always feel the way I do, that it's always a blessing to hear from you. And we also appreciate that you speak from the heart. And every talk, there is you always share your personal experience. And I think for this one particularly is to encourage all of us. Mike mentioned that, you know, his progress was very slow at the start. And this is an experience for most of us, that at the start, for some, there's some that will start, you know, things go very quickly and they are making steps very quickly, but for some it's not the same. It takes a bit longer. So the encouragement that we've had from Jaja Mike is that yes, it can take longer, but if you're consistent and you're committed, the results will come. Then what also inspired me is the story about the truck driver, moving from such, I would say, an ordinary person earning ordinary income to somebody driving an S-Class Mercedes-Benz. That is a transformation that everybody would want. You want to say something, Mike?
Susan, can I
Yes.
interrupt there?
Yes, of course.
When in South Africa, when you go from primary school to high school, it's different now, but those days you were then in standard 6. Standard 6 was the first year of high school. That's how far he got. He hadn't even got halfway through high school. Was a truck driver. It shows you.
Wow.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
It is total transformation. Because, if you look at earning, he's now earning more than degree owners or degree holders or even master's degree holders. And this is the New Life Opportunity. That's what the New Life Opportunity is all about. It is, it doesn't look at your education. It doesn't look at your background. All it looks at is your ability and your willingness to learn and develop people. Mike said, do not look at developing a business. Focus on developing people, be interested in people, and the business is going to develop on its own naturally. So build people, put your put your energy into ensuring that people are coming up. If it's helping them health-wise, yes, then recommend the products. If it is helping them to build their business, then do that. Then your business is going to grow naturally. So those are wonderful, wonderful pointers, and I hope that we were taking notes and that we can use those learnings for our businesses and our personal life generally. So thanks so much again, Jaja Mike. I really appreciate always your time. Really, really appreciate, and we always look forward to hosting you, every month. And we're also looking forward to having you with us in December. It will be such a wonderful experience, especially for me. And I think the other people that haven't met you physically were supposed to meet you in Turkey, but that was not possible. In Mauritius, sorry, that was not possible. So we look forward to seeing you here in December. I would also like to congratulate the brand new people who attended today. This must have been special for all of you. So this is only the beginning. Please ensure that you attend each one of our meetings wherever you're able, so that you learn and you hear the stories of the other people that have been in the business for longer. We sometimes have product sessions, sometimes only business sessions. So please always make the time to attend, because every learning that you get will definitely impact your business and impact your life. So I would like to once again remind you about the business summit that that Neolife is hosting tomorrow at Imperial Royal from 2 to 4:30. Please plan to be there, and we together learn and see how to grow our businesses as we go forward. Thank you very much once again, everybody, for making the time to attend, and God bless you and have a good night. Bye.